These are bragging rights, and these niggas are trophies to rich white men who own niggas. Man, it's no different.
That shit in perspective. Look at my niggas.
Man, you don't think they do that when they be in them boxes? That's my nigga. Look at him. Look at him. I brought him out the ghetto. His mama didn't have a husband. I went down there and met him. He just say, man, I met Memphis. They had roaches. Nigga, you think they don't be saying that? Them my niggas. Look at him. Go, nigga.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just say real life street stars. Know what time it is.
So to be from Chicago, you actually went pro in the NFL and actually played for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I got fired in football, but I ended up quitting. Like I just showed you, they sued me. Yeah, I ended up quitting football, bro, because like all of my homies retarded now.
Yes, take us through that because a lot of people don't, football is a contact sport, probably one of the roughest contact sports.
Collision sport.
Yes.
For sure.
What is your take on that? Like, what does it do playing football? What does it do to the body? What does it do to the brain for that many hits?
Right. So from my experiences, bro, like it damages your body long term for sure. And like your cognitive abilities will suffer if you steady getting repeated head injuries. Like the brain is not meant to take that much trauma. So like NFL players settled a class action lawsuit against the NFL for billions. Yeah. So imagine how many other people are on the street right now who have CTE. Yeah. All it takes is one concussion to have permanent brain damage. You got hundreds, each year you got thousands of players in a non-pro level. So like whenever I see like certain guys crashing out, I'll ask them if they play football. They'll say, yeah. How far did you go? They'll tell me. I instantly know, oh, it ain't even your fault that you doing this.
What's the worst case you've seen, like as far as like mental state or what they do or what their motor functions were?
Man, bro, my boy Sergio Brown, bro, like this is my boy, bro. Like any party I had, any event I had, he used to hire me to come out with him. But I watched him change. Like I watched him change. I remember when he was making perfectly good sense, like, he would call me, what should I do about this? And then I remember when he would call me and he not asking me nothing. You feel me? He just invited me places. We'd get there. And his speech would be weird, like his mannerisms would be strange. And, he going through some situations right now where, they say he allegedly murdered his mom.
Yeah.
And I knew he loved his mama, bro. He loved his mom.
And can I say this? Because when we seen that, he left and it just looked fishy. And then he started making bizarre statements.
I was trying to call him. Well, I got on the phone with him briefly. And he was talking about he was underwater and stuff like that. I'm like, what? I'm like, Serge. He's like, killer, bro. I'm underwater right now. When I get done swimming, I'm going to call you. Last I heard from him.
That's the last thing you heard.
Speaking of NFL players, and you've got people like Aaron Hernandez, right? How many NFL players would you say are like that in the NFL?
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Keep It Going, and Don Keep It Going, Charles. What's going on? Unfortunately, today, ESPN has let go of Ryan Clark. I was going to kind of spit some stuff on here, but kind of figuring out the situation a little bit. It's kind of understandable, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of understandable And then it's kind of like, wow, Um, so I was listening to this one lady, this white lady. Um, she seems to be really into sports, and that's kind of cool. And she was really detailed about everything, and actually kind of blew my mind on why Ryan Clark got fired from ESPN, and it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm not advocating for people to quit their jobs or get fired or do anything to put themselves in a position where they can't make a possible reasonable income for their family and for themselves um and for their environment that they're in to maintain that sustainability or whatever, sustainability. Yeah, sustainability. My bad. But she goes on to say like there's actually an alternative route of why he got fired. Because originally, what he allegedly supposedly got fired for was him making a comment to Peter or whatever, Schroeder or whatever, tell him that you're not really a football player and that not to be rude, but I actually lived in these trenches, which is understandable, what I'm saying, but you have to give another man his props when he's been in that sport over a decade, whether he picked up a ball or not. He's a he's a like study analysis, what I'm saying? That's what that's even more harder than almost football itself, kind of, to actually mathematically study this shit, bro. But anyway, so allegedly but that was like September last year. That was like allegedly 10 months ago. Um, it happened 10 months ago, and people were like, "Whoa, what happened?" All he said was such and such, such and such. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it, bro. Before I get into it, as a black man, you kind of have to watch what you say and what you do when you work for these corporations, bro. Especially with ESPN. ESPN is under Disney Channel. Which is kind of weird that Disney Channel owns all these corporate business shows and sports shows because it's nothing but locker room talk. It's crazy. But anyway, but as a black man, you have to be careful. You have to watch what you say. You gotta be more diligent and on your feet and more aware. Just because you're on those shows doesn't make you one of them. You know what I'm saying? And whether you're just white or black, really, but I'm speaking for black men from this position because I am one, and I come from a long line of black men before me, after me, and during. Um, but and the same thing with the Shannon Sharp, which is honestly Shannon Sharp was just trying to give him some pussy that he was gonna pay for, and the bitch felt some type of way and was gonna just try to put him out there for no reason. That is what it is. Respect to Shannon Sharp, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't doing too much. He wasn't all that weird shit. He wasn't doing none of that shit, bro. He was just like, "Hey, what's up, shorty?" Da da da. But this woman, Ariana, goes on to say, like, you know, that there's a situation with a couple, and it just so happens this Haley chick, she has a husband or whatever in the NFL, and apparently Pocono or whatever his name is was on the Pivot podcast with them and stuff like that. Allegedly, I think I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna check it out. So I guess they were on there degrading her, and the word got back to her, and I guess that got back to the major corporations that Ryan Clark had worked for. Now, it could be a lot of things. It could be a paper trail on Ryan Clark. Plus, they were saying that they're getting rid of more people, and that Pat McFay or whatever, they increased his salary, they increased his money. They're gonna give him more time on TV show, whatever, da da da, which is quite understandable. It makes sense. It does look like a race thing, but it really isn't. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Clark decided to put himself in a position to cuss this girl out and say a whole bunch of unnecessary nonsense that could put him out of business, and it makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? So she goes on to say that basically that these men on the Pivot podcast were like degrading her, and she was going through all this stuff, and there's a whole bunch of stuff and what the husband was doing, and really, honestly, her husband could have CTE. Now, I've trained in MMA a lot, bro, and I've seen CTE, I've seen concussions, and it makes you. I haven't done any crazy shit because there's been times where I've been cracked inside my skull so hard, and I'm still blessed to be alive, bro. But there's been times where I have to take a break from training in MMA and fighting for like years, bro. There's been times where I just naturally take a break from it. Because if you're constantly getting busted in your head every day, bro, and you're going back to training and you're just training too hard, bro, something's bound to happen. Either it's going to alter your brain, depression, anger, anxiety, everything, paranoia, PTSD. A lot of that can flare up in your brain. God rest his soul, just like Chris Benoit. You've been hit. He's been hitting with a steel chair for so long and taking steroids. It altered his brain to where he just snapped, bro. Like, and that's a part of sports. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, Ryan Clark doesn't have a job anymore. I mean, he has his podcast. He's still making money. But it's the simple fact that you sat up and you knew you had a $1 billion, $1 million deal on the line. Why would you go and risk that by talking about joining another man to talk about his wife? No, this man might have concussion problems. That's why he's saying the shit that he's saying. He's feeling the way he's feeling. Or the relationship might not be how it used to start from how it was from the start. And like I said, I was going to go in and say, oh, this isn't right. Ryan Clark, another black man, da-da-da-da-da. But as a black man, I'm telling him, you got to take accountability in your hands, bro, especially when you're under a major sport organization broadcasting world or system. You have to watch what you say, because they highlight everything. If they can highlight a man's highlight reels, you think they're not going to highlight all the shit that you said in the past and now this situation? Yeah, the situation that allegedly happened 10 months ago, and it wasn't even allegedly, because that's what they're allegedly saying. That's why he got fired for, allegedly. But turns out the man was just reckless out the mouth with a group of other guys. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, like I said, it's not necessarily his fault, because you got to realize, first off, I know it's a business thing. I get it. It's a network thing. I understand all that. But Disney should be Disney. ESPN should be ESPN Sports only. There should be separate entities. One shouldn't be a whole entity thing together, because there's a lot of shit that goes under these corporations that people have ideas about. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a man sport, and men do stupid shit in this sport outside the sport. Why the fuck is Disney even having to own them? You know what I'm saying? Disney should be its own entity, but unfortunately it's not. But that's gonna be Disney's burden. But honestly, like I said, it's guy talk, man talk. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people out there are gonna be just already like, oh man, it sucks that Ryan Clark has to go through this situation, and him being a father, a family man, and him being a legend almost in the sport of football, and now him getting his shit together and doing this pivot podcast and life after football, life after sports, training and talk about fatherhood here and there. But at the same time, as a man, you gotta realize you don't just work for your own, bro. You work for a major corporation. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it goes in with the whole Shannon Sharp thing. They fired him because allegedly the whole situation with the chick and she was claiming this and that, and and come to find out it was a bunch of lies that she consented to, and there was text messages that was there. And that's the one thing about this shit too. Even though it's two separate things, these women choose to be in these relationships. They choose to go on and on and on and on and be a part of the situation that they could just automatically leave. But wanting clout so bad it can get to their head. You know what I'm saying? Ruin a man's career, getting to their head. But like I said, it's black men's responsibility to realize the type of tax bracket that you're in that could possibly put you out of business. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's my sister went upstairs. The tax bracket that you're in that could put you out of business, and not only that, you played yourself. Really, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, you played yourself, bro. You played yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's something that he should have been mindful of. But like I said, allegedly there's supposed to be more layoffs. You know what I'm saying, with ESPN. And that's another thing too. Like, besides the whole situation, just it's crazy, bro. They're supposed to have more layoffs, allegedly. I guess I'm using the word allegedly a lot now, but they're supposed to have more layoffs, and that's going on everywhere. That's just not at ESPN, but that's even in the tech world in California where they're laying off millions of people. It's time for people to start figuring out what they want to do because these corporations are not going to keep you guys forever. And like the guy said in one video before I listened to this Ashley chick, oh, I forgot what he said. Damn, I forgot. Well, the longer you stay at a job, the worse it's kind of going to get, bro. Something like that, somewhere between those lines. But honestly, like the girl Ashley said, bro, it makes a lot of sense, bro. It makes a whole lot of sense now. Like she said, I guess apparently the NFL don't care about character, but apparently they do when it comes to him. Ryan Carr's black ass folk. They got rid of him, bro. He shouldn't have been on that motherfucking podcast. He got his own podcast. It's different. You can talk anything you want, but it makes no sense for you as a man to hop on a podcast with another man and talk about his wife with him, bro, because it's gonna put you. That man fucked your bread up, bro. Y'all calling her all types of names and stuff like that, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But this is what, like Charleston White said, y'all, you gotta. These fucking athletes are dumb as fuck, bro. Even big homie Cece said it, bro. These fucking athletes are idiots, bro. They're fucking stupid, And I ain't gonna lie, I've been trying to rethink about training and shit. All right, well, when I say training, I want to go back to training, get back in shape, take care of my health and my wealth, and take care of my being, my body, and all that stuff in my mind. I want to get back into training, but I don't know if I'm wanting to go into professionalism or wanting to go into getting back in the cage and trying to go professional and getting hit. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I want to train, yes. Continue to train, yes. I want to fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to spar hard. I'm not trying to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? Because like big homie CC said, bro, after so many years in the sport and train, he said when he felt that he knew that he was getting dumber in the sport of football because he kept getting hit in the head and he has experience of playing sports. He has experience of taking care of athletes, and he has experience of psychological problems with athletes, bro. And I don't agree with what Charleston White said, but like what Charleston White said, a motherfucker with a ball in hand is just dumber than a box of rocks, bro. Just dumb as shit. Look at the situation, bro. You a whole athlete. However, I'm not trying to put anything on his name or Puka, whatever his name is. Puka Nachos. I don't know. Shit. You slandering your wife. You telling her that's not your kid. You her physically abusive and verbally abusive. Like, bro, that is the dumbest shit you can do, and that could be a lot of that from CTE, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why, I was kind of scared to get back into the sport of, combat because I wanted to be able to do something with my brain and not just get hit all the time. I want to be able to run a business. I am still smart to a degree, but at the same time, I don't want that to alter my fucking brain to where I'm just a meathead and I'm just an athlete and you can't stand up for what's going on out here. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of true because you fight under certain things, certain entities, or training, or you're a professional for a certain entity that pays you, and they don't. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. And a lot of that shit is mind games. I ain't gonna lie, bro. But like I said, dude set himself up for failure for this shit. Yeah, he got fired. They called him. They go mid-show. They let him go. Um, but like I said, like the Ashley chick shit, it could be from when Ryan and the dude, Puka Nachos, Puka Noko, or whatever it was, he went on the podcast, was slandering his wife, and a bunch of other guys were doing it, and now look where they got them, bro. Fucking out of a job. Now, like I said, Buddy has his own shit. He has his own podcast. They said he might be put on ESPN. They said he might be put on ESPN. But honestly, I don't know, bro. Honestly, I don't understand it, bro. My sister texted me. I'm trying to do a video. She's gonna have to wait. But anyway, it's gonna have to wait, bro. It's just gonna have to. God damn it, I got cross-minded with it. It's gonna have to take time for everything that's going on to actually be investigated. But it seems like it's already been investigated. But like Charleston White said, like Big Homie CC said, bro, and I'm gonna have to agree somewhere, some percentage to it, bro. We athletes are the dumbest motherfuckers, bro. I'm gonna be god honest with you, bro. You know, some of them are in it for the money, and then they start their own shit where they ain't gotta continue to do the sport for so long. But some of them are in it just to make a paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck, bro. And it's just, man, bro, it's mind boggling, bro. I'm gonna put everything in the video. Um, yeah, if I'm working for a corporation or if I'm an athlete, I'm not gonna do or say anything else. I mean, it happens sometimes subconsciously. Such shit like happens. You know, you might randomly do some dumb shit, say some stupid shit, or whatever the case may be. You know, which is it is what it is. But at the same time, you know, at this point in today's culture, you have to be careful with everything you say. You know, even though they're allowing everything on TV and audio and podcasts and Spotify, they're allowing all this shit to go on. You know, but. And it goes back to what Tony Reed was saying. I might try to drop it in the video. It goes back to what Tony Reed is saying. If they're gonna do it in the sport, you think they're gonna do it in the sports broadcasting? You need to get rid of all these niggas. They ain't trying to pay all these niggas this money, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I keep references a lot of people, and just like the rapper said, just like this one rapper said, like it's to the point where there are so many hip hop leaders was making so much money that they had to put certain things on their names. They had to start putting negative narratives on them, which fucked up the community, black community too, in a way, because, you know, we listen to a lot of music and shit. They tried to, you know, and they still are, you know what I'm saying? But shit, man, we are the people, especially the ones that can control the money and are in a different tax bracket, have to start being responsible and start being leaders and stuff like that, which is, I doubt anybody is, you know, but we're trying though. I can see that. I can say that too. But you know what was gonna happen is they're gonna get rid of a lot of niggas for out of this stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go overseas, get the international people. They gonna hire them. They gonna do all that, bro. It's gonna happen eventually. But you know, that's just my take on it. You know, Ryan Clark will be all right. He'll find a little job. He's got other little side hustles and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna try and put everything in this video. It might take me a minute, but yeah, a lot of these women have to be mindful too, and it ain't just sports niggas. But you gotta be careful when you're getting in a relationship with a lot of these sports dudes or, you know, things of that nature. And for some reason, it's just been a weird situation going on, a weird high rate going on with that shit. Just like that dude last year killed his wife and his daughter and shit like that and his son because his wife wanted him to turn the football channel and shit like that. You got shit like that going on, bro. So I kind of see where this Ashley chick is talking about, bro. You got that shit going on, and maybe to a degree, sports can make you smart, but it can also make you dumb as fuck, bro. It can make you super dumb to the point where you will do shit and you're getting privileged and you don't realize what you're doing until you're in some deep shit. Now, all these promotions and sponsors are just letting you go and don't want to be bothered by you. But that's just me. Love y'all. That's your boy Don Keep It Going Charles. Talk to y'all soon.